that at my feet is a lizard buried in the sand up to its neck.
Here's the north tube, south tube. River, the riverbed, and here's the tunnel. A rectangle set inside each tube. Huh?
This thing rules. The thing rules.
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Brian Altano.
And I'm Max Scoville.
This is a show where we discuss something we love,
Unpack why we love it,
explain where it came from,
try to remember our first impressions of it,
share our weird stories about it.
maybe learn something new about it along the way.
But first and foremost, we're here to celebrate the fact that this thing rules.
Hey Brian, how's it going?
Hey, Max, so I heard you have a bag of garbage for us to
I got
celebrate.
a little bag of some trash. I got a goodie bag. There's some stuff in it. Would you like to reach in and retrieve an item?
Yes, I would.
I promise you, all the things in this bag, they rule, or at least I think they do. But to you, that's the real question. All right.
Is this like when it's like at Halloween where you put your hand in the box and you're like, is that fucking Jello? And they're like, it's mummy's brains.
Grapes.
Yeah.
Or eyeballs, whichever. Lizards. The bag has lizards in it. I want to talk about lizards. I think they rule. We've talked about alligators, which, comes from the Spanish for el lagarto, which is the lizard. But I want to talk about lizards as just a concept. They're fucking great. These things are wonderful. I feel like they're the dogs of the reptile kingdom.
Do you know what's really funny about this? My kid has been ramping up asking more and more for a pet. And what she keeps saying, because apparently these are also interchangeable for her, is, Daddy, I really want a dog or a lizard. And I'm like, well,
okay, so I will explain my reasoning there.
Okay.
It's got 4 legs.
Okay, you're gonna have to do better than that.
It's got 4 legs and a tail. But also, when I say lizard, you immediately know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, it describes all these different things that are all different shapes. Like a Komodo dragon is a lizard, but like one of those fucking rescuers down under the Dilophosaurus ones with the big French collar.
Yep.
The frilled lizards. That's a lizard too. There's that one that like runs on water, the Jesus Christ lizard or whatever you're supposed to call it.
Do they call it that? Because that's what the guy said when he first saw it.
I think partially, but also he's like, he walks on water. But I don't, yeah. But yeah, like they're, a Great Dane is a dog. A Pomeranian is also a dog. But at the same time, you say a dog and like people are immediately like, yeah, I know what that is. But like, I don't know. There's all this confusion over like crocodiles, alligators, people are not quite sure about that. But what's your favorite lizard?
I live in North Bay and we see a lot of, they're called Western fence lizards. And I like those guys a lot. They're really cool. They do, I don't know if they camouflage. They do like mild camouflagey stuff, or they have a tendency to just hang out on shit that looks like them. And their whole thing is that they're fairly friendly, but also like they lay out in the sun and just soak up stuff all day. So if you're like going for a hike or, you're going around in nature and stuff like that, like they went around the room at my kid's school at the beginning of January and they're like, hey, it's 2026. So like, every kid pick a word for the year. And my daughter was like, exploring. And she brought that home and I was like, hey, let's make a thing out of that, right? Like, let's every weekend, every chance we get, let's go someplace that we've never been to before. Like, let's go to a nature trail or a hike or a waterfall, or we'll go to this town. We haven't, and we've been really good about it. It's been awesome. And doing that, you get to see so many goddamn lizards, and I really love it. They're everywhere now. So that's one of my favorite ones. I don't think a salamander is a lizard.
No, it's not.
It's an amphibian.
It looks like a lizard.
But it looks like a lizard.
It's a frog that's shaped like a lizard.
Yes. But I will give a shout out to the salamander because we were moving a couple years ago and we had this like one of those outdoor, those like cheap outdoor like benches, like storage benches.
Yeah.
And we had one of those that had like, we used to keep like an inflatable pool in it. And during COVID, we would like blow it up and fill it up and then just sit in it and be like, hey, life is normal for 5 minutes. And then we'd, pack it up and put it back in there. And when we moved, I went to move it. And I was so used to seeing lizards and like spiders. And like, we saw like a scorpion in my kid's room once. And we're like, glad we're moving. And I move this thing and I just see this big fucking wet salamander. And I was like, yeah, fucking salamander in the wild.
You never see those guys out here.
Yeah.
Like I was
awesome.
I was just telling a friend about this. I encountered So I never encounter those lizards around where I live, but I will find the baby ones when they're under the ground. Like when I'm digging around in my garden and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'll find them when they're like, and I always am like, ew, worms. And then I look closely and I'm like, wait, it's got tiny legs and stuff. It's one of those lizards. And I think they grow up and they run away or whatever, or they get hit by cars or eaten by crows or something. That's the thing, like growing up in the East Coast, you don't see lizards because there's winters and they just, like, you see plenty of frogs and toads and amphibians and stuff, but I never saw any lizards. You know, I knew there were like rattlesnakes out and about, but as far as no lizards, all blizzards, no lizards. It was just, and I remember moving out to California and like, again, seeing those little tiny lizards everywhere and just being just enchanted by it because they're just fucking great. They're just funny little guys. I love them. They got like little blue tummies sometimes. Yep. Most of the time they look like they look like whatever it is they're sitting on. Not because they're chameleons, but I feel like they're smarter than chameleons. Chameleons pay for this whole upgrade path where they're like, yeah, I can turn plaid if you put me on a plaid thing. And these guys are like, what if you just didn't go on plaid? What if you just sat on brown? What if you did that? You know, like it's just path of least resistance.
The Western fence lizards are really cool because they're easy to catch. Like you can, like, it's not like not like I'm trying to do this all the time, but like if you see one in your yard, like you don't have to work super hard to like scoop one up and have it sit in your hand for a minute or two, and you can show it to your kid, and then you put it down and let it run away. And we in like this old house we were renting, I left the front door open just to get some air into the house. It was like a beautiful day out, and my daughter was like 3.5, and she's sitting on the couch watching The Lion King, the original animated one, not the live action one where their mouths are weird, but and they're like, and I look over on the couch and there's a fucking baby Western fence lizard sitting on the couch next to her. And I was like, hey, honey. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, there's a lizard watching the movie with you. And she looks down and she goes, oh, hi, lizard. And it just kind of looked up and it sat there. And I was just like, does it have any idea what's happening? It's like, like this thing has probably never seen a movie before. So we have like a running joke in our family that like that lizard went on to tell all his friends like, yo, dudes, like I fucking snuck in this house. They had this fucking big thing. You could see all sorts of shit. You know, like he went in and everybody's like, Gary, you're a fucking liar. And he's like, nah, they got talking fucking lions.
If that was a mammal, you would absolutely be like, I feel like seriously be like, do you think he's watching the TV? And like lizards, there's not even a question of like, if that was a cat, you're like, does he watch TV? Does he like TV? And with lizards, you're just like, no, he had no goddamn idea what he was doing. And if he did, he didn't care. Like reptiles are just, they're on a different wavelength. They got that reptile brain shit going. They just they want like hot rock or crunchy cricket. You know, they don't give a shit what they're like roast. They want raw chicken, maybe. I don't know. They just they want to eat, or they want to sleep on the thing, be warm. I had a weird thing I encounter with one of these little baby lizards under that. I was like, I moved a thing. It wasn't the big plastic thing. It was a smaller wooden thing in my yard. This is incidental information. We don't need to talk about what we were moving to find these animals.
How big was the thing?
It was medium sized. Anyway,
where'd they make the thing from?
I moved the thing and there was a small creature underneath. And then my first thought was, oh shit, worms. And then I was like, oh, but I always think it's worms and it's lizards. And I look closely, I'm like, wow, there's 2 of them. And these little things are about...
Oh, there's 2 of them.
There's 2. They fly now. And these 2 little things are wiggling around. And I was like, oh, wow, I've never seen 2 of them at the same time. And I look closer, and it's one that did the whole, like, its tail fell off, which I'd never seen in person. And I wasn't, like, trying to grab it. I literally just moved this box, and it just was like, ah, and just started going for it. And the thing that never clicked for me about this is I always assumed that this is some, like it is definitely one of nature's coolest action features, where presumably the idea is that, like, I don't know, a cat or something grabs this thing by the tail and it's just like, haha, trick tail, and just runs away with its ass looking kind of weird, and then it grows back a tail later. But the thing I didn't realize is it's also a really cool diversion because its nervous system goes fucking haywire. And so there are these 2 little things that are just twitching around, wriggling every which way. And I'm like, oh, 2 lizards. And then I look closely and I'm like, wait, no, one of them doesn't have legs. And I pick it up and I look closely and it's just the tail, and it's just flailing around for like a solid 30, 40 seconds. I actually didn't, what did I do with it? I don't know what I did. I think I just threw it in a bush or something, but it blew my mind. I was this level of like appreciation
for its tail off.
No, I didn't break his. I moved this box that was on top of it. So I don't know if it was like attached to a. It was like, you know, burrowed into roots or something.
It's like one of those things where someone like gets pinned against a tree by a car, and they're like, if we move the car,
that could be
won't
it.
live again.
But the good news is the lizard's body will grow back or whatever.
Yeah.
But the little guy just went. He ran away. He got off and he ran away with his little legs. But I was just fascinated at how much this tail, how much energy it had in it. And I've like seen a chicken get its head cut off and it does like a weird little flip.
Where'd you see that?
The woods. I don't know. Like I don't know. I grew up in the country, and there was this rooster that used to attack everybody. Like I don't know. They had like a chicken coop, and there's this rooster. Roosters are pieces of shit. We're not going to do an episode about them because they fucking suck. This rooster was
Why
like
do they suck?
They're villains. They're horrible. They like will attack you. They come at you with this. They've got spurs. They're like modern. I mean, they are kind of modern day velociraptors, but they got these little shitty things on their ankles, and they'll come up and they'll like kind of claw you with them. But these things are like, they want to fight.
They got big feet and they wake up everybody in the morning. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't try to fight people for no reason when they're coming out of their house. We had to keep a bucket of umbrellas by the door, specifically, not because, I mean, it also did rain sometimes, but specifically to scare the rooster. So if you were like walking to your car from this house, you would have to take an umbrella with you because the rooster would just come running straight at you and would try to fight you. And so you'd have to take the umbrella and like pop it out like a Dilophosaurus neck, just go foop, foop, foop. And that would scare the rooster away. And eventually
I've never heard this from you.
Everyone got so sick of that goddamn rooster that we all got together. I remember it being like an event, like all my cousins were there. There was like a bunch of people from the neighborhood and they were all like, we're all standing around. And my cousin Roger just took this fucking rooster and he took it by the feet and swung it around like a windmill over his head. And then he put it down. He put it down on a piece of 2x4 and took a hatchet and cut its head off. And then its body did this weird little just somersault. Like it didn't run around. That's what the whole thing when you spin it around, you're supposed to get the blood out of its head or whatever, so it doesn't basically make it dizzy, so the body doesn't run around, which apparently they do otherwise. Yeah, I don't know. It was just weird. They had this little momentum, but that wasn't a deliberate action feature of the rooster. That was rooster murder. They were taking care of a criminal rooster they were dealing with. But like this lizard just jettisons its tail, and it never occurred to me that it's a decoy.
Yeah,
like I always thought it was just like I don't know, like if a bully's chasing you and grabs the back of your shirt and you just wiggle out of your shirt, you're like, haha, you have my shirt now. It's like if your shirt ran off by itself and was like, haha, come and get me. I'm easier to bully. Like it's such a cool little action feature. So
that's really smart.
I don't know. Yeah, lizards are great, man. I will say my favorite lizard is the Gila monster.
He's a great one.
I
thought you were going to say skink, but I'm glad you said Gila monster.
Skinks are cool, but I don't actually know. I don't know what a skink is.
I don't know what a skink is either, or the anal.
What? Anoles? Those little guys? Those little funny anals? I like lizards. I like skinks. I like anals.
I feel like it's like once every 6 weeks we do a thing on the show that makes it like a zoologist pull over in their car and just pound their fists on
leaning on the horn.
It's not how you say it. We're like, it was in the grab bag. I didn't do any research.
Yeah, bag was full of lizards.
The Gila monster's great. Well documented tormentors. They got the fucking poison mouth. And
no. So you're thinking of a Komodo dragon.
Really?
Or like
that's right.
The Komodo
I know what
dragon,
you're talking about now.
They're the ones that are like they can run 70 miles an hour and they'll like eat a kid and they're not actually poisonous. They just got shitty mouths, so they're just like give you a yeast infection if they bite you or whatever. No,
I'm getting word that the zoologist who listens has now driven 100 miles an hour
has actually
into a tree.
Rescinded my subscription. They've canceled it because they're clear that I'm not reading those zoo books. No, the Gila monster, its deal, I love it so much. Its whole deal is that it's venomous, but it's not deadly. Or at least not to larger things.
Mm-hmm.
But it has the most poisonous venom. So its entire deal is like he's this fat little guy. He looks like a depressed dewback. He's just sitting there. He's got a cool pattern. Wow. He's got like a kind of yellow stripes and stuff. He's got like fun little shapes on there. I like a Gila monster pattern a whole lot. And they're just these little. They look like, I don't know, big raisins or something. They just sit there. But if they bite you, it hurts.
So much shit about this dude.
They look fucking silly, but I like that they look a little silly. They don't look like every other lizard. They look like weird. They look like Gila monsters. They look cool as shit. But yeah, they just sit there, and if something comes along, it's trying to mess with them or tries to eat them or whatever, they bite it, and it hurts worse than anything that thing has experienced. And the message there is, do not fuck with me. That will hurt. And it's not like I'll bite you and you'll die. It's not like some like, you know, it's not some rattlesnake shit where they're just like, venom. It's like, here is the most, like, it's the equivalent of just like getting, I don't know, having like a really powerful taser, or like a little kid who's just like really good at kicking people in the nuts or something. Like bullies come after him and it's like, that's my purse. Like, just leave me alone. It's like, do not mess with Gila monsters. And they're just, I like that they're not bothering anybody. They're not, I think they eat crickets or tarantulas or something. They, you know, they probably eat whatever they feel like, but they're not going out of their way to be like, I'm going to bite people and I'm going to make everyone's day worse. They're like, if you fuck with me, I'll make your day worse. I'll bite you and give you the worst bite of your life. It's not going to kill you, but you'll learn from your mistake. You'll learn not to bite me again. So that's it. I don't know. I just think it's like a wonderfully like, it's just like it's a mind your own business lizard, you know?
I mean, obviously it's like a nature nurture thing, right? But do you think like coyotes as like a rite of passage learn not to bite one of these things? Because
No.
I feel like, no, you think they just do it, or they just don't do it? Like, are they born with the innate knowledge that they should not bite one of these fucking guys? Or do they try it once and they're like, geez.
I like to think they probably, I think it's probably like occasionally when, you know, like a dog gets stung by a bee and its nose gets all big. I would like to think that's the case.
Yes.
I'm going to type this in right now. Coyote bit by Gila monster.
What do you think? You're just going to get a video that's going to be like a coyote getting bit by a Gila monster. So I don't think that's going to be enough data, basically, to extrapolate like a true response to my question. Nor did I expect one.
They do not have any videos of coyote getting bit by a Gila monster. And also, I just realized
the word is out.
Coyotes can't ever do Reddit AMAs, but I would love to. If a coyote ever did one, I would be like, have you ever been bit by a Gila monster? How many people have died from Gila monster bites? One fatality has been confirmed since 1930.
Wow.
On February 16th, 2024? What?
What?
They just killed?
That's so late in the game to lose to one of those guys and be the only one?
Oh my, the rare fatalities recorded before 1930 occurred in adults who were intoxicated by alcohol or had mismanaged the treatment of the bite.
Or both.
Yeah.
That's very funny. Very funny.
What's that quote? It's like in case of what? It's like in case of snake bite, always carry whiskey, and in case of I don't
Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. You know what fucked me up was learning that
I got it. It's W.C. Fields. Always carry a flagon of whiskey in case of snake bite, and furthermore, always carry a small snake.
Classic water closet Fields. Back with another banger. Do you know that cheetahs have never bit a dude?
That can't be true.
That's true. How fucked up is that? Leopards have, and lions and tigers and shit, but cheetahs don't do that shit. They just run away.
They just don't?
Yeah, they just don't. They see a guy and they're like, nah, I'm good.
Wow.
And I feel like I was conditioned my whole life to think that they were a threat, and they're not.
I think I always sort of conflate them with hyenas because they're in the same, you know, kind of same thing, same area, whatever. Cheetahs are funny. They're all right. You know, again, they just sit around on rocks with a cool outfit on. It's a good thing. All right. Speaking of rocks, here's the next thing in the bag. It's a weird thing to put in a bag, but tunnels.
Tunnels.
Yeah, man. Do you like tunnels?
Yes, I love tunnels.
What's
Actually,
your
I hate tunnels.
Do you? I'm unclear how you feel about these things.
No, so I like the idea of a tunnel because it's a good way to get through a mountain otherwise. But I don't like being in like I think the older I get, the more I get like mildly tingly on heights and claustrophobia stuff. I think I like tunnels. I think my favorite thing that a tunnel can do is be a painting on the side of a mountain instead of an actual tunnel.
That's a good point.
That's probably a top 3 tunnel for me.
Bridge can't do that.
A bridge can't do that.
Can't paint a bridge on the road. You got to paint a tunnel on a wall. No,
Roadrunner never did that, right? He was never like, oh, the road keeps going through this mountain. It's like a clear blue. He would have to paint the whole mountain blue, and then
I think he's done the thing where he makes a bridge that doesn't end or whatever. You know, he like runs off the bridge that's unfinished. One of
That's a
those
bridge
ones.
that does end.
That's a bridge too far.
It's a bridge too short, actually.
I'm with you on bridges and acrophobia, but I think tunnels are a thrill. I like a tunnel. I like going through. I'm always excited to go to a tunnel. I think they're very fun.
What do you have like a favorite that you go through? I can tell you mine. It's easy. It's the one from what is
Robin
it?
Williams tunnel?
Yeah, the Robin Williams tunnel.
Yeah.
Which is it leads from North Bay into the Golden Gate Bridge, and you could be having like the worst time in your life, or you'd be in a bad mood, and it is like scientifically impossible to not have a little bit of your breath taken away when you come through that tunnel and you see the Golden Gate Bridge and the fog and the clouds and the mountains and all that. It's like one of the most beautiful vistas in the world, and it's also a reminder that you are no longer in a tunnel, which I think is nice.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But that one's good because they painted a rainbow around the outside of it.
That is a good one. The cool thing about that is I feel like no matter what the weather is on one side, on the other side it's the opposite.
Yeah.
So you'll be like it's like a load screen where you're just like, oh, clouds, 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 and then you go in and you go out the other side. You're like, sunshine, hooray, cool, and then it starts playing the Full House theme. No, that one's good. I like a good long tunnel. I like a good there's a tunnel that goes to Alameda, which is a little island sort of. Yeah. That one's. I actually don't like that tunnel that much. I don't know. It's fine. It's okay.
That's your favorite tunnel, the one you don't like that much?
That's not my favorite. It's the one I go to the most. I don't go to tunnels a lot. I don't go out of my way. I mean, I guess that's tricky because when you think of a tunnel, I was looking at this up, the longest tunnels, and a lot of them are like they count like aqueducts as tunnels, which I think that's stupid. That doesn't count. That's a pipe. Did they count your dad's ass? That's actually classified as a cavern. All right. It's a naturally occurring tunnel.
I heard that it's actually just a painting on a block.
God damn it.
What about that? So I think one of the reasons that I don't like love tunnels is that we used to go through the Lincoln Tunnel a lot when we were kids. And the Lincoln Tunnel is a long, dim, yellow, stinky, wet tunnel. And when you're stuck in traffic in it, it feels like the longest loading screen. Like it feels like you're in there forever. But then you get on the other side and you're in Manhattan or you're in New Jersey. And so both of those places are good.
Well, I feel like this is maybe culturally insensitive asking a guy from New Jersey how he feels about tunnels because like, what is it? Jersey's like bridge and tunnel people. Like that's
bridge and tunnel. It's how we got into the city, right?
Sounds like you're talking about like Morlocks and trolls, it's a horrible thing to say, but I don't know. I think it.
Yeah, that was always a very funny reductive thing because it was like, do you want me to fucking fly? Should I take a boat? Like, how am I supposed to get into your city and spend money?
The catapultaroons doing the catapults to get across the bay.
The jet ski boys from Jersey. No, so that was an iconic tunnel that I didn't really like because it was stinky.
Gee, that tunnel, I think I don't know if I've been through it actually.
I think maybe you have.
We've been near it because we worked like New York Comic Con and that's like right by that. But I get a little starstruck when I see it because that tunnel is the star of the hit 1996 Sylvester Stallone film Daylight. Have you seen Daylight?
I have seen Daylight.
Love that movie.
Yeah. I love that movie too.
Fan of that movie. That movie, if anyone's unfamiliar, is about Sylvester Stallone fighting the Lincoln Tunnel. And he goes in there and it's such a I like a movie.
It's the Lincoln Tunnel's fighting Sylvester Stallone.
That's fair, yeah. But I like a movie where where like the sense of place is really, really good. It's kind of up there with The Rock, where like I'm like this. I don't know how accurate this is of a depiction of the actual tunnel. Like I like that The Rock. Everyone's like that's a James Bond movie secretly. I think it's secretly a Donkey Kong Country movie because they got all these mine carts and shit under there. It doesn't make any sense. Does Alcatraz have mine carts? I never stopped to think. Probably, but I don't think it does. But anyway, when I was in China, I went through some ridiculously long tunnels to the point where I was like unclear if it counted as a tunnel anymore. And also crazy long bridges. It was weird because it would be this thing where it was basically just this long ass freeway, and I think we're going from like Hong Kong to the mainland or something, but it was like just some of the most like surreal infrastructure I've ever encountered, where you're just like, we're just in this van and I'm jet lagged as hell and we're just driving along. And to the point where when you're in a tunnel for so long that you're like, are we in a building? Like, where did we go? I've been through the Channel before. I've taken the train from Paris to London,
Oh, right. Yeah.
which I oddly don't remember that well. Like I think I was just paying attention to whatever else. Like I was, gazing longingly at my wife's eyes or some shit. I don't know, but like that's a cool one. When I was growing up, I was living in around Boston, and there was a big. It was called like the Big Dig, where they were trying to do some big tunnel, or I don't know what they were. They were trying to do some.
Yeah. I remember that
feat of engineering, and I remember they had a kind of standing exhibition at the Science Museum that was all about the shit they were trying to do, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, like let's explore the science of this big ambitious thing. And I don't recall what the thing was, and I could look it up easily, but it's not as interesting as whether or not a coyote is ever bitten by a Gila monster. But as a kid, I just remember being like, who gives a shit? I don't care. This doesn't fascinate me. Show me bugs, and they did have cool bugs there. But anyway, I remember, I don't know, I have like vague recollections of being in tunnels as a kid. I remember like being on it's a different thing when you're in a car versus in a train. Like I think in a train, it's almost, subway tunnels around New York, like that's just its own environment. I don't count that when I think of tunnels. A tunnel is like a point A to point B thing. And
yeah, because you and I, lived in the Bay Area for years, and there's tons of tunnels that you take on the BART and the Muni, and and when you're in New York City, you're taking trains everywhere. I don't really think of those as much. I think that like
doesn't count.
Doesn't count. It has to. I'd like clearly yes, they're tunnels.
I remember like taking the subway in Boston as a kid, like when I was like peak Ninja Turtle enthusiast, and just like being glued to the side of the window, just trying to like see like what's it like out there, like what's it like in the tunnels, in the sewers, like is it as cool as it looks on TV? I didn't think there were Ninja Turtles out there, but I was like, there could be Foot Clan members, there could be ninjas of some sort.
Did you ever go? It's not really. It's sort of a tunnel, but did you ever drive through one of those big trees?
No, the one where they just cut a hole in the tree for a goof.
Yeah, I feel like that there's a bunch of them in California, and I'm never like out of my way looking for them, but occasionally I'll be somewhere like on a family trip or something, and we'll just drive through a big ass tree, and it's really fucking cool. But you're also kind of like, that probably hurt the tree, right?
Yeah, that's not great.
You couldn't have gone around the tree, and the tree's like, did you ask if you could do that?
God,
like
that's
you lifted
awful.
up my skirt and sent 10,000 cars through it an hour. Like not great. But for us inside the car, whoa.
What's a good runner up to the tunnel is the car wash, the kind you drive through.
Car washes are great,
and it feels like an octopus is fucking your car, or
I love them
submarine.
so much. And
It's
they
such a
added
thrill.
all these silly like LED lights in the last decade
Really?
or so. Yeah, like there's a bunch by me where like they, instead of it just being like this, I remember going in the 80s and 90s, and it would just be, they would just hit your car with big wet foggy shit and tentacles and stuff like that, and just beat the hell out of it. And there was no real spectacle about it. It was just really cool because you couldn't see out the windows, and then you could. But then the new ones, like they have all these like laser light show things that happen inside, and all these like it'll be like, oh, it's purple now it's blue, and here comes the octopus, and you're like, okay, this is really cool. And like going through those with my kid and me, who's a big baby, I just get so excited because I'm like, this is so cool. Also, you're not driving, but you're driving because like your car is moving by itself. You have to just drive and put it like in neutral on that weird thing that hooks onto your tires. That's a good time.
I haven't been in one of those things in enough recently. They're so cool because they're like haunted houses for cars.
Yeah, you should go.
It's wild. Yeah,
washing your car in the driveway is fun, but going through the tunnel is better.
Yeah, that's true. All right, what's in the bag? Did I bring another thing in the bag? Did I bring it?
Did you?
Do you have anything in the bag you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll do a thing in the bag.
What's in the bag?
Bubble Bobble.
Bubble Bobble.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, fair enough.
Bub and lizards, Bob, tunnels, again. And yeah, Bub and Bob. So my connection to this franchise is interesting, but I want to know yours.
I think my first exposure was either playing at an arcade and not fully understanding the nuances of the game, or playing ROMs of it. Do you remember Nesticle? The old emulator that was just the icon was a little nutsack. And
my uncle got his removed after an accident.
Terrible. No, but yeah, Bubble Bobble. I remember just kind of being like, I don't know. It's a very accessible game. It's super fun. I actually played a bunch at the arcade with my wife when we were in Portland a couple months ago, and I like it. I feel like it's a very chill arcade game. You know, it's from an era where they're very much like trying to just shake you down for your quarters, and you know you're not going to get that much mileage out of it. But there's something just sort of like I think Pac-Man is a pain in the ass. I personally fucking hate Pac-Man. I just think it's sort of like I get the thrill, I guess, but it's just I don't enjoy playing it. But I feel like Bubble Bobble is like, I don't know, it kind of manages to actually capture some of the thrill of Bubbles, where you're like, it's kind of floaty and you're kind of like hoppy pop, you know, trying to hop around, just do a little bit of keepy uppy, you're still trying to eat fruit and kill monsters, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of floaty, you know?
I think that's what was always so special about that game was like, the game came out in 1986. And so I was young, but my cousins got it for the NES. It came out, I guess, for the arcades first, and then it came to the Nintendo Entertainment System. And a lot of arcade ports at the time, like if you look at something like Contra, right? It took all of the, like, you gotta pump quarters into this thing to survive element, and it brought it over to the NES, and all that really meant was that you saw the title screen a lot because there was no real mechanism to pump quarters in. So their reward was like, hey, it's you only have to pay once, but you see the game over screen constantly. And Bubble Bobble was one of the first ones I ever saw where it just let you continue from the last level you were on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was incredibly forgiving. And it was also like, for me, it was fascinating to play a platforming game where the protagonist created the platforms, right? Like you can use the bubbles as a weapon against the enemies, or you can use them as things to bounce on. So it creates all these really interesting mechanics. Also, it is a 2-player co-op game by design, almost to the very last drop, to the point where you cannot beat that game with the proper ending, which is rescuing both Bub and Bob's kidnapped girlfriends in like level 100 without having both players alive. And that was really hard. Yeah, that was really hard to do when I was a kid. But what I love about that game is it's got 100 levels plus a couple dozen other bonus levels. There's passwords to get to every single level in the game. So like as a kid, you know, it was really easy to write down a password when you got a game over and be like, I got to go out for a couple hours. Or I got to shut the game off. Or my dad needs to use the TV. And you'd come back in and you'd put down this like 5-digit, 6-digit passcode, whatever it was. And you'd pick up right back where you were. Same, like if you died on level 47.
Yeah, that was a save point.
It was a save point, basically. And you were constantly pressed with this balance between, do I use my bubbles to shoot an enemy, jump on it and kill it? But your other option were, in case a bunch of enemies in bubbles at the same time, they would naturally group together in a pocket. If you popped all of those at the same time, you would get a ton of prizes. And if you didn't, the enemies would break out and turn red and become like twice as evil, twice as fast, instant death versions of the original enemies, which is a really fascinating twist because you're always left with this sort of like gambler's risk reward thing of like, do I let them live long enough where I can group them together and get this super powerful kill and super high score? Or do I pop them one by one and they'll never do that? And if you pop them one by one without doing that, the timer goes down and it plays this music that goes bam, ba-na-na-na, and a fucking great white shark killer whale ghost thing shows up and he moves through walls and ceilings and can kill you like crazy. But what was really cool about it is the prizes you got. Like you mentioned some of them. Killing enemies in that game leads to them dropping all sorts of shit like fruits, ice cream, fucking like sandwiches, pretzels, all this other stuff. And if you popped a bunch at once, you would get a gigantic version of one of those things along with like 20 others. So you might get like, you might kill them all at the same time and see like a 6-foot tall ice cream cone descend down on the screen with like 20 little ice cream cones. But you'd also get like a cross.
What?
And all of a sudden you'd get like fireballs. There was like weird religious iconography that gave you like sort of like magical attacks. There were these like lightning bubbles that if you jumped on them, they shot out and they made this like fart noise. And Bub and Bob would do this like they would just look like like a dad sitting on the couch farting during a football game. They would make this really gross, like relaxed face. And you would use them to offensively kill enemies on the other side of the screen. So yeah, fantastic game. Super fun in co-op. I highly suggest you play it with your kid if you haven't, because it's like it's aged super well and it's accessible pretty much on every platform. The thing I don't like about Bubble Bobble is that I like the original arcade game. I like the NES game. I've played almost every one since and have never once been able to like chase that same high as those first two.
They just put out one last year. They put out Sugar Dungeons, which is like a roguelite spin.
Yeah.
And then it included Bubble Symphony, which is like a Sega Saturn one apparently it was just I know there's people out there who are like, yeah, like hell yeah, new Bubble Bobble. And I just reading the Steam reviews is just, I don't know, really funny to me because people are like, Taito, come on, you bungled Sugar Symphony. It's like, I get it. I have my own weird, brain damage of highly specific things where I'm like, oh, why'd you do it this way? But I just, it's like someone's angry about the port of a Sega Saturn game. And like, I get it. It's like, they shouldn't fuck that up. But at the same time, it's just,
it's such a bummer.
My Sugar Symphony. I have a list of Bubble Bobble enemies on here, and they're insane. Because I don't
actually know this. That's interesting.
So there's what's Rainbow Islands. That is the second. It's the second one. So that's Bubble Bobble 2. So the list of enemies. How much time do you have? Because this might take a second. You ready for some Bubble Bobble enemies? All right. Stop me when you know what one of these things is. All right. Weepy, Nanabo, Bunta, Kumonga, Minisuke, Kurobe, Helibo, Bombi, Trusan, Mamet, Kano, Tachka, Bat, Wolfman, Franken, Dracula, Skeleton, Ghost, Dokuron, Skull Bone, Water Gun, Punchman, Skull Ball, Magic a Hand, Pierron, Othello Piece, Marionette, Energy Ball, Slander, Mechanimal, Forgot, Papo, Bond. These are like, I feel like if somebody had a gun to your head and they were like, invent Pokemon, it's like, oh my God, forgot. Oh, Papo, Bon, Spannern, Nut-On.
Nut-On?
Nut-On. What is Nut-On? Nut-On is a nut. It's just a nut. It's like a nut, like a bolt. It's just a little nut. There's Nejubo. There's Isaacan, which is like the name Isaac with an apostrophe N. So if you're very casually Isaacing around, you'd be like, I'm just Isaacan. There's Borat, not Borat, but Borat. There's Missile
My wife.
Slime, Ghoston, Cyclops, Gargoyle, Silver Knight, Gold Knight, Kobold Knight, Orc, Wizard, Cleric, Golem, Wraith, Worm, Nuko V15, Benser G21, Jitsumi P19, Soid. I'm almost done, I swear. Wagasu Z17, Dachimo U11. What the fuck are these?
What?
Dachimo U11 is like a little green. I like that they don't even blow up the sprites. You can barely tell. It looks like a Caterpie with a tripod underneath. So that's what that is. So now you know.
Incredible.
Yeah, and wait, hold on. There's Milars, Tabashi Y12, Puka Puka, Kasabe, Blake Kuchin, Rin, Tusenbu, Bake Yuri, Oge-chan, Inibi, Minoji, Hashiritai, and Otama. That is the roster of enemies in Bubble Bobble 2.
That's insane. Like you look at like Super Mario Brothers, and there's like Koopa Goomba, Koopa Paratroopa, Bowser, Cheep. Good night. And
yeah.
Bubble Bobble's like, hey, we have hundreds of them.
What is Clodride?
You know, there was a menorah level in that game.
What?
Yeah, there's a level just shaped like a menorah. There's a level. One of my favorite levels in Bubble Bobble is just called Popcorn, and it is a huge frying pan shaped level. And there are these fire bubbles, and when you jump into them, they drop a fireball that hits the ground and creates like a fiery surface. And so you can drop all of those and then all the enemies go into it and they all die. And it's just called popcorn. So all these bubbles start popping because of fire and stuff like that. And it's like, great. There's an umbrella that you can get in that game that lets you jump like 5 levels ahead. And so every time you see it, you're like, yay. And then you have to spell out a word that I'm trying to remember the name of right now. I think it's, God, what's it called? I don't
Bobble?
think it's, no, it's not bubble.
Horse?
Or bobble. No, it's not horse. I should
Kong?
know this. Ugh.
So I looked it up. I love that all of these enemies I just listed off, which sound
Extend.
like extend.
Yeah, to give you an extra life. And it
All right.
kicks you into a bonus level.
That's neat. I just clicked on Mammoth, the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Mammoth, or Mameto, is a recurring enemy in the Rainbow Islands series, and Mammoth's name comes from the Japanese word Mamedepo, which means pea shooter, and it's a little tank. So it makes sense. They put thought into this. It is like Pokemon. They're all little double entendres. But they also have like slander and jargon on there or whatever. I just can't. Weepy? Weepy's a caterpillar. Why?
It's so weird. It's
I
so
love
weird.
it. Anyway, Bubble
Uh,
Bobble rules. I want to go play some Bubble Bobble now. That sounds
Yeah,
like a
you
good
really
time.
should. You really should. I have one of like the small scale arcade cabinets around here somewhere that has the full arcade version of the game, and it's like very fun to play it 2-player because you're basically going blind. Yeah, it's playable on pretty much everything. I think like you can get the original ROM or whatever, and it's super fun in 2-player. So go play some Bubble Bobble, one of the best arcade and NES games of all time.
Did you know that there's an anime?
What?
Yeah, there's Bubble Symphony animation, which is a 1994 adaptation of the arcade game.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
It's 28 episodes long.
What?
Well, I have got to look into this. Find out
Also,
more about
shout
the lore.
out to Puzzle Bobble, which we haven't mentioned, which is a spin-off that was way more popular than Bubble Bobble ever was for some odd reason. But yeah, so go play Bubble Bobble. Shout out to Bub and Bob and they're
doing great work out there.
Yeah, they're down there. I think it's underwater.
No one knows.
No one knows.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, lizards, tunnels, and Bubble Bobble. I think we all had a good time. Learned about some things that rule. If you want to tell us stuff that you think rules, you can find us on all the various social media platforms. Shoot us a message on there, or you can email thisthingrulesshow@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Patreon, patreon.com/thisthingrules, and we'll be back next week, or the week after that, or whenever. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And one last thing before we go, a very special thank you to all of our Patreon producers: Ben Burkhalter, Paul Atienza, Kevin Lemasurier, Steve Cam, Billy McKendry, Snake Chip Chunkling, and an extra special thank you to Anthony DePiro, who we forgot last episode because we're the worst. Anyway, thank you so much. We love you. Goodbye.
So what are we looking at?
We don't know the stress points in the mid-river. We can't risk any explosives. It's all got to be done by hand.
It's gonna take forever.
If another shaft don't give, 10, 12 hours minimum.
How long is the air gonna hold?
3 hours, max.
3 hours max. All right, Frank, here's what I think we ought to do. I think you gotta cork it up and seal off the survivors from the fumes until you can dig out the mid-river passage. What do you think?